Another quadratic inequality, and of course our first step when we have an x squared type and an x like this is to get one side equal to 0, so I subtracted that 6x from both sides, and now I'm off to factoring this thing. It's a little bit of a different factoring from the two different sets of parentheses because there's no constant, but there is this common factor. So we don't see this very often, but when we do, we should be like super happy because it means the factoring is like, okay, I'm going to pull an x out and do that reverse distributive property stuff that we talked about before. So what would need to go here if I wanted to get an x squared, and what would need to go here if I wanted to get a negative 6x. So I hope, if I pause for a second, you can start getting impatient, reading my mind, that this would be an x to give us the x squared, and this would be negative 6. And what we're going to do before we can figure out what makes this thing more than or equal to 0 is figure out what makes it equal 0. So we need a value for x that makes this equal to 0. Well, that'll be the value 0. So I'll throw that on a number line. And then, of course, we need a value for x that makes this equal 0, which would be 6. And then these answers will be included because we have that extra line there. So when I put the circles around this 0 and this 6, I'm also going to color them in because they are part of my answer. And now we'll do that sign analysis thing that we normally do. So if I have a hugely negative number, this portion of the inequality will definitely be negative. And if I have that hugely negative number and I subtract 6, it's still going to be a negative number. And a negative times a negative ultimately will be positive. So that'll be positive. I'll move to this region. I need a number between 0 and 6. So let me pick I'll pick 1. And again, we don't care, I'm going to pick a specific number, but I do not care about the value, just the sign. So if I plug 1 into here, it'll be positive. And if I plug 1 into here, it'll be negative. And of course, a positive times a negative is negative. Final step, gigantically positive number would make this positive. Gigantically positive number would make this also positive. And of course, a positive times a positive is positive. And now we'll go back. We were trying to find where this was more than 0, or in layman's terms, when this was positive. So that would be all of these regions. Everything from here to up to 0 and from 6 onward. So in an interval notation, if that's a thing you need to do, open bracket around negative infinity up to 0. From 6 to infinity, and the word or, if they're using the words and or this capital U, which means union, which means both those sets. Good luck with that. Please email me if you have questions, and I'll do my very best to answer them. Good luck.